Um, all right. So first off, thanks so much again for doing this. My first question is, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the disability community.
Well, my name is Julia Sadler. I began coaching after graduation, working with children doing sports and taught gymnastics, ballet, dance, any type of movement. And what I found was that movement and teaching movement made me happy. I got into my 20s and realized that teaching wasn't paying my bills like I wanted it to, and started thinking, what else could I do that would make me happy and help people? And I had taken some classes in Special Olympics and coaching special needs children, and I had loved it. So I thought this would be a really nice route to go, and pursued physical therapy school. Was told that I couldn't get in because I was older and that I had already established a career and that it would be impossible. But I went ahead and went back and got my education goals. I had to take all my sciences all over again because they had timed out. So went ahead and made application into physical therapy school, was accepted, and got my master's in physical therapy. So that was just how it all began.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about what you do as a physical therapist. What's your role? Because like physical therapy is so broad.
It can be very broad. Physical therapy is moving more into being a field where we are specializing. We in Texas now can have direct patient care and take patients without referrals for certain time periods. So a lot of physical therapists are specializing. I have a pretty broad background because I do pediatrics, but I also have done skilled nursing and other areas. So most therapists will pick a field or an area that they're very interested in and that they do their best in, which for me was children, special needs children. I just have always loved teaching movement, and that became my specialized area of interest. I also like geriatrics, which is skilled nursing. Um, and I enjoy sports too because I coach. So it's sometimes hard to find out which specific area your skill set and interest is in, but eventually you'll find out what's best for you.
Mm-hmm. On that note, like how do you go about addressing an individual's needs, as a physical therapist yourself? What sorts of things do you look at when sort of seeing patients and evaluating them?
Um, Physical therapy has moved into a lot of functional gains and functional goals. What we try to do as a therapist is look at the patient's life and look at what goals this person needs in their life to make them function better, whether that be their ability to do simple things such as brush their teeth, go to the bathroom, walk down the hall, get up from a chair and go to the sink, wash dishes at the sink. It can be as simple as that. For pediatrics, I do developmental goals. So I look at a baby or a child that has a problem or is behind developmentally, and I try to assess and see where in the developmental pattern I can help that child make gains in their ability to learn to sit, stand, walk, crawl, or strengthen muscles to make a movement pattern that provides function for them.
Mm-hmm. As like a follow-up, what do you do from a physical therapy perspective to make sure individuals, have that independence and autonomy in their everyday lives? Because I've talked to numerous physical therapists and they've told me that each, patient that they work with is different. So I'm wondering what your take is on that.
Each patient is different, and with physical therapy, as far as a patient and finding out that goals and that autonomy is you have to get to know the patient. Now when it comes to pediatrics, it's a little bit different because the patient is sometimes a baby. So what we do, and I work in home health, which not skilled nursing, but similar to going into the home as you would someone that had had a surgery or had something wrong. I go into the home and I help educate the parent, because primarily it's going to be that parent that's going to help do the therapy. I teach them what they need to do to get the skill or the function that the child needs in order to progress and to move on. And so a huge portion of pediatrics is involved in educating the parent to be able to help put that child at the situation that it needs to develop the skills and progress that it needs. And it's very hard to do sometimes without the parent. The parent is the key to helping us figure out what each specific child's needs are. And going into the home even helps that better, because we're able to go into the home and see where the child is positioned, where the child is laid, where the child sleeps, where the child is fed. And all of those things we are able to take a look at and ascertain what that child might need as far as education to the parents, and positioning and devices or anything needed specifically for that child.
Mm-hmm. My next question is, what impact does physical therapy have on the disability community? You know, what stories have you heard from patients that you've worked with?
Um, I've had all levels of patients I've worked with and heard back from. I've been doing this for over 20 years. So fortunately, I've been able to have patients return to me and tell me what they're doing and how they're doing, and get to see that progress from taking a child that's newborn all the way up to 18, 20 years old. And it's very heartwarming, and it's very good for me to see that what I'm doing does make a beneficial statement and progress for that child in their life as well as their parent. And that's what you want. That's what you want to hear, is that it could be something as simple as the child was able to stand or take a step, which whatever it may be, that is a huge impact on understanding why we're here, why we do what we want to do to help others get better.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, this is kind of a bigger, broader question, but like, how can physical therapy, create better outcomes for people with disabilities in the long run?
Well, in the long run, physical therapy is huge, because we take not only the functional outcomes of physical things such as standing, walking, crawling, and movement, but we also take into account the neuromuscular part of that, the cognitive association, the motor planning, how we're going to get that child from A to Z, or that person from A to Z. We can help impact their lives in ways that are problem solving, teach them how to problem solve, how to move in their life, and to complete a function. So physical therapy can be a very huge benefit for people who are elderly, who have given up. It's having someone teach you a way to do something where you thought you could never do it before.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. All right.